Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason. We're kicking this one off on an exciting Friday evening in the workshop. Still working on the silver single cab project. I've been, between the last video and this video, taking stuff apart, trying to get some prep done, and we're going to do a little bit of experimenting in this video to see if my suspicion of my transmission cooling problems, what I suspect is bad, is in fact the problem, and hopefully verify that, and then get going, get it back together, get it out on another test drive, and hopefully have our issues resolved with this thing and be able to just enjoy it for a while. So let's get to work. All right, guys, so let me catch you up to where we're at now. So last night I got the truck in the workshop, I got it up on the lift, I got the coolant drained out of it, radiator out of it, also the auxiliary transmission cooler out of it, grill, etc. Because I'm just going to go through the whole transmission cooling system. I want to make sure it's good. I don't want to take this stuff apart again. And first thing I did, I've got my TrueCool 40K auxiliary cooler here. Obviously took it off the truck. I cleaned it out as best I can with some acetone. Poured some in, shook it around, gyrated it, poured it out. Did it again. Basically wash, rinse, repeat like that until the acetone came out the same way it went in. The first time or two it was tainted red with transmission fluid as expected, but then it was coming out clear and it was coming out fast. So I think I've got that thing nice and clean. Once it wasn't pouring out anymore, I blew it out with air, and air just goes right through that thing, no problem. So then I went through my stash of radiators. Anytime I pull a truck apart for parts, I try to save stuff that's good that I know is expensive or that I may possibly need later. And I had this radiator from a 2500 HD I took apart, I think it was last fall, but this thing, I saved this radiator because to me it looks like it was brand new. And there's no rust on the little cheap steel clips that hold the oil cooler in. No rust on the clips that hold the trans cooler in. You can see the aluminum still looks nice. Nothing's swollen or messed up. It looked nice on the front side too. Again, when I took it out, I knew it couldn't have had much drive time on it because it still looked new. And I went ahead, since I have it out, gave it a coat of black spray paint. I like the front side of my trucks behind the grill to be black, so gave that some black. And then I cleaned out the oil cooler and the transmission cooler the same way I did on my auxiliary cooler. Filled them up with acetone, shook them around, agitated it, poured it out. Rinse and repeat until it runs out clear. And same deal, the oil cooler and the transmission oil cooler and that radiator, if I blow air into it, it blows back out as fast as I'm putting it in. So I feel confident that there's no restriction in that one either. So we've got a good radiator, we've got a good auxiliary transmission cooler. Now what I want to do next is I want to repeat that process, and I want to test the radiator that was in the truck. I've had it sitting here draining for a couple hours now, but I have not cleaned it. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to get positioned up here and get set up so we can blow some air into that transmission cooler and see if it's restricted. That's going to be the major tell. If I blow air into that transmission cooler and it doesn't come out just as fast as it does out of that one, then I'm going to know. That's going to be a good verification for me that that is in fact the problem. All right, folks, so let's just start off with our basis of comparison here, right? Now this is what I believe, what I am 99% sure is a very low use new radiator out of the truck that I parted out. I've cleaned it out, and when I blow air into the transmission cooler here, I know you can't see airflow, but you got to take my word for it that air is coming through that thing as fast as I'm putting it in. There is no restriction inside of that cooler. Now we're going to compare that to what came out of the truck. And what I expect, what I think is going to happen here is, one, I'm probably going to make a mess. But two, I think this thing is it's going to restrict the flow. The air is just not going to be able to get through it as quickly as it could through the other one. So, how can I be not directly in the blast? Let's try that. All right, well, team, I may be mistaken, because air is coming out of that just as fast as I'm putting it in. That does not seem restricted to me. Seems like that's blowing just as quickly through as it was through the other one. So that means we need to check our cooler lines. Maybe we've got a piece of rubber hose that is kinked or is coming apart on the inside. We got to check the cooler lines, which means I got to get the truck higher up in the air and get the lines off the transmission. So I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready. All right, been a couple minutes. Got all my cooler lines checked out here, and I can blow right through all of them. Oh, I can't reach that one, but I can blow right through all of them. It doesn't feel restricted to me. So the only other thing I can check is the actual fittings on the side of the transmission. These guys. So gonna pull those out real quick, check those, make sure they look good. I've probably made a disaster of a mess underneath this truck, so I'll have to spend a little time getting that tidied up, cleaned up, wiped off. And then if I find something, I'll tell you. If not, I'm gonna start putting it back together with the new radiator. Even though this one doesn't seem restricted, it is, as I said, old, and you can see here at the bottom, like the fins are literally starting to corrode out of it and bulge out. So there's no sense in putting that one back in there. I'll just put that other better radiator that I have in it, and we'll just see what happens, I guess. So I'll see you shortly. All right, team. I got this thing put back together. I just had it running. I got the transmission fluid full. I'm gonna let it sit so the oil settles. I'll get the oil, engine oil, topped off. I don't know exactly how much it holds in the engine oil cooler, but it's enough that I just wanna make sure that I get it filled back up again. But I figured before I put the grill on and the little top cover there, I would show you I changed something. Before, I had the auxiliary cooler mounted with the inlet and outlet port pointed down. And I did a video a while back showing how I install these that way. And one of you commented on the video, I'm sorry I can't remember who you were. You commented on the video though and said that you mount yours in this orientation with the inlet and outlet port pointed up. That way, any air that's inside of this cooler can be pushed through and out, and then go back down and be bled out of the system. With the inlet and outlet ports on the bottom, any air that's in the cooler can be trapped, which would essentially make that cooler not do a whole lot for you. So I flipped it over. That'll get any air pockets purged out of the transmission cooler system. That should help keep the temperatures down. I don't think that was the problem, but honestly, who knows? Like, I thought the problem was a restriction. But I checked everything and I can't find any restriction in this thing. So, I don't know, maybe that was it, maybe not. I'm gonna finish putting it back together, get the engine oil checked, and then take it out for another ride. Now I know too, like, I'm just gonna get right on the highway and see what happens. If the temperature starts going up, then I know that I probably haven't resolved the issue. But if I can cruise up and down the highway a little bit and it doesn't get hot again, then hopefully I've got it sorted out. So I'll see you guys in a little bit, hopefully with some good news. Well, folks, I'm back. I took it for a test drive. Drove about 40 miles up and down the highway. That was where it was getting hottest, the fastest is on the highway. Took it 40 miles up and down the highway, 20 out, 20 back, and it never got above 140, 150 degrees transmission temperature. So I think we got it. Licked. I'm relieved. That was really irking me. I'm bummed it took me a transmission failure and almost a second transmission damage to get my head into diagnosis mode instead of just part slinger mode, but we got it now. I'm pretty confident. I did go ahead, I thought, well, maybe since I couldn't find any restriction to flow, maybe it was blocked up in the radiator tank, but it doesn't look rock. There's a lot of this brown stuff, which I'm sure isn't helping its efficiency, but it's not all rust and corrosion like I expected to see. And then I looked inside, and inside of the ports, I don't know if the camera will catch it. Inside of the ports on this one is very different from inside of the ports on the other radiator. And this one even looks like it's got some junk down inside of there. So, I'll be honest with you, I don't honestly know what the problem was in the cooling system. I didn't find any restrictions in the lines. I didn't find any restriction in the flow through that cooler. I didn't find any restriction in the flow through the auxiliary cooler. Now, as I said, I did flip it over to make sure that it'll purge any air out. But even if that auxiliary cooler wasn't helping to cool before, it wasn't doing what an auxiliary cooler does, the cooler in the tank should have still been more than sufficient to keep the transmission from overheating, from getting too hot under normal driving conditions. Especially because the coolant wasn't getting over temp. The coolant stayed right at 210 the whole time. So I'm not completely sure which thing I did that fixed it, but the important thing is I'm pretty sure it's fixed. So it's a little after 11. I'm gonna go up and get some sleep tomorrow. Well, happy midday, everybody. It's the next day, and I just got back from Carlisle. Went to the Import and Performance Carlisle. Lots of imports, lots of Volvos and Volkswagens and Saabs and Porsches and Mercedes and all kinds of stuff. A little bit of Japanese imports, Toyotas, Mitsubishis, Mazdas, those sort of things. And really like almost no performance. I was thinking performance there would be like big vendors there, like Holley and Edelbrock and things like that, but none of them there. So wasn't able to find any of the stuff I was looking for, but still walked around and saw some things. And it's a beautiful morning, so I enjoyed the time outside. But I'm back now. Got the silver truck. I drove the silver truck to the show. Ran and drove great, no problems. Did everything it was supposed to do. Transmission stayed right in that 140 degree range where I like to keep them. So I'm really confident now that I've got the problem resolved with keeping the transmission cool. And it's time to get this thing cleaned up. I don't think I've washed this truck since I've owned it. and I'm gonna give it a good scrub. It got the interior all detailed up. It's time to get the exterior all cleaned up and looking good. So I'm gonna get the pressure washer out and let's get to it. Well, everybody, it's been a little bit, but she's all cleaned up. It really cleaned up well. I'm very happy with it. It's amazing what a good hand wash and wax does for the paint on these trucks too, especially this silver color, silver birch. So, pretty pumped. Took a bunch of pictures with it all clean. And now I'm done for the day. I'm gonna go spend time with Meg and the kids. So, probably see you guys tomorrow. Well, everybody, it's Sunday now. It's about lunchtime, and it's been a busy morning. I took the silver truck on a little errand this morning, about 60 miles. Beautiful, no problems. Very happy with that. She's running, driving, doing what she's supposed to do. Transmission staying cool. Got that thing fixed. I'm gonna keep putting miles on it and enjoying it. And in the meantime, since that thing is all good to go, we're getting started on something else. You can see I've got a donor truck up on the lift. I'm getting all the fluids out of it. Engine oil and front differential are draining. Rear differential is draining. When those are done, I'll get the transfer case drained. And then I'll start getting the coolant out of it also, the antifreeze out of it also. And this one, whew, this truck is a drivetrain only donor. And I may snag the center console out of it because somehow it's still got a decent center console in it. But whew, just about everything else on this truck is totally smoked. The front fenders are junk, the doors are rusted, the cab is, whoa. That's all I have to say about the cab. The frame is too rusty to be worth saving. The bed is off of a GMT 900, not the right one, not something I deal with. It's junk. Tires are smoked. There may be one or two rear tires that I can use. But pretty much everything else on this thing is garbage. The mirrors are mismatched, which is unfortunate. The passenger side mirror is a factory power with turn signal mirror. But the driver side it must have been smashed at some point, and they just replaced it with a manual mirror, so it's too bad it's not a match set, because I would pull them off and I would put them on the silver 2500. But the rear differential is good and the thing runs and drives fine. The engine actually runs surprisingly well for as rough as this truck looks. I guess they spent all their money on maintenance of the drivetrain. So I'm pulling the engine and transmission out of this thing. I'm gonna sell the rear. I'm gonna sell the transfer case. I don't need those. I have plenty of 14 bolts. And I don't have any other trucks that I'll need the transfer case for that I can think of. So we're gonna get this thing torn apart. I might put you on a time lapse. I haven't decided. I'm just gonna get to work, start taking stuff apart and see what I find. And we'll go from there. I gotta get some stuff done. It's already lunchtime. I only have till about 3. So I wanna try to make some more progress today. All right, guys, I'm wrapping it up for now. It's mid-afternoon. I'm gonna go up and spend time with my family. I'll probably come back down later this evening. I got the drive shafts out of this thing, front and rear. I've got all of the fluids drained out of it. I've got the exhaust cut off and out of my way. I've got most of the front differential unbolted, almost ready to come out. I did try to keep the Y pipe in as big a chunk as possible. And the reason being is I'm gonna try to reuse the exhaust, at least pieces of it. We're gonna swap this 6-liter and 4L80 into the K5 Blazer that I picked up at Fall Carlisle. I wanna get it, my goal here is to do as low buck as possible of an LS swap into the thing. This truck should have pretty much everything we need. The only other parts I had to buy were a transfer case, because I needed a passenger drop transfer case that would work in that truck, which I got. I have an NP208 from a K20. So it's got the right 32 spline input to match up with our 4L80 transmission. And what else did I get? I got the drive shafts from that K20. We may or may not need them. I also have the drive shafts from this truck. I have a bunch of other drive shafts out there. So we'll be able to use that stuff. Motor mounts I'll go into when we get to that point. But basically, this truck, there's not enough of it that is of use to keep it sitting around here. And I want to get that K5 moving, running and driving. My plan is get it mechanically sorted out, and then I'll sell it to somebody that wants to do the body work and get it aesthetically sorted out. I think there's a ton of potential there. So somebody will probably be happy to have it as an LS swapped K5, and then they can do what they want with the body, fix the little bit of rust that it has, and then paint it or not, or do whatever it is that they want to do with it. So I'm gonna, like I said, go up for now. I'll come back down later and try to get some more progress. I at least want to get everything under the truck done this evening. And truth be told, I got a little sidetracked. My neighbor used the mower that I just fixed, that green Craftsman. He said he used it for like 2 hours and then he noticed an oil leak. So he brought it back to see if I can find the oil leak and get that fixed. And I went to pressure wash it, and the pressure washer pump died. I took it all apart to see what was going on with it, and it all the little valves and stuff in here are made of plastic, and about half of them self-destructed. So I'm not going to be able to fix that, and I'm not putting the time into trying to find all those little valves. I just ordered a new pump. It was 50 bucks. It'll be here tomorrow. So that'll keep me moving along on all the other things that need to get done. But that's it for now. I'll probably see you guys later this evening when I come back down. All right, everybody, later that evening, and I think I'm gonna call it for the evening. There's really not much else I can do under here tonight. Everything needs to be done from the top, and I'm gonna put it off, do that tomorrow. I don't need to rush. So, front differential is out, skid plates are out, exhaust is cut off. I went ahead and took the little front diff mount bracket off to give myself a little more space. I have what's left of the transmission cooler lines cut and dripping into the drain pan here. What was left of the fuel lines I cut off, I'm letting that drip out. All the electrical's disconnected. Transmission crossmember is out. Interestingly, this transmission mount might be smoked. They didn't have any mounting bolts in it. So we'll have to see. They've also got gobs of silicone around the transfer case flange. Why people won't just buy the $7 gasket, I don't know. So we'll see what we find inside of there. This thing, I don't know. I don't think video really does it justice of how much this thing has been leaking, but it's obviously been leaking a lot of things for a long time based on the amount of crud built up under here. But your drive shaft is out. I dropped this, what was left of the fuel tank cross member or skid plate, and drained the fuel tank. I don't need this fuel tank. I'm not going to have any use for this fuel tank. So I just drilled a hole in the bottom of it and let the gas run out into a drain pan. So everything underneath is disconnected. It's really just resting on the torsion bar cross member and the motor mounts, and then all the hoses and lines and stuff. But that won't take me long to get apart tomorrow either. So hopefully tomorrow evening we'll have this engine plucked up out of here, especially because I'm going inside and getting some sleep, and it's only 11 o'clock. So it's an early night for me. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, everybody. It's the next day, next afternoon actually. And my mother-in-law's here hanging with the kids so I can get some extra stuff done. I spent all morning mowing and landscaping and doing my outdoor chores. But look at all that. And the grass is all same level, all trimmed, all nice. But I've got about an hour to try to get some stuff done down here before I need to go up and start getting dinner ready. And my new pump came for the pressure washer. And this thing, here's my old one. I'm just getting them compared here. The bolt flange is the same. The shaft diameter is the same. And this new one, it even came with 2 new keys, new mounting hardware. I'm just gonna reuse the stuff that's original to it. But I'm gonna get this swapped out because I need to get this thing pressure washed. It's got a wicked oil leak. So I want to try to get it pressure washed so it will dry and I can peek at it this evening and figure out what the oil leak on it is. So let's stick this back together. All right, let's stick this in here. Where's my key right here? Let's get that lined up first. Look at that, easy peasy. Perfect. Goes right into place. Bolt holes line up. I mean, everything looks the same as the old one, which is awesome. I wonder if this is just like a super common pressure washer unit pump. There's not that many different versions out there. And I just overcomplicated it in my head that it would be difficult to find a replacement. Probably. But here we go. 4 little bolts. And then hopefully our pressure washer here will be good as new because we use this thing. And from how cruddy it is underneath that parts donor truck over there, we are gonna have a lot of grime and grit to get blasted off of that drivetrain. If I'm gonna be working on it, putting it into something else, I want it clean. I don't want it all gross the way it is now. There we go, tight. Click. 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 Have our little soap tube. Bam. All right. Well, that was way simpler than things usually are for me. I'm gonna go get this mower pressure washed off. All right, folks, so I got my pressure washing done, and I was gonna call it good underneath it here, but you know what? Before I go through all the effort of getting this transmission and engine into that blazer, I'm gonna take a peek inside of this transmission pan. And by take a peek, I mean I'm gonna drop the pan and see how it looks inside of this thing. The way it was driving, and I haven't been able to drive this on the road. I've only been able to move it around here at the house. And the way it moves around here at the house acts like it's low on fluid. Which is possible because it's leaking fluid from everywhere. So, that may be the case, that it's just low, but I do want to look inside of this pan just in case it's not. That's not it. Just in case I find a bunch of clutch material or glitter or who knows. Who knows what could be inside of this pan. But I'm going to at least look at it before I put it in another truck. And let's be honest, I was going to service it anyway. And also, if I do this now, I'm less likely to pour transmission fluid all over everything when I do take the transfer case off of it. Let's see here. Front is going to be a little easier to tip, and it's going to be heavier. All right, so just the fact that it's not pouring fluid out already does support my thoughts that it's just low. Let's continue on and make sure it's not so low that it has burned up clutches or something like that. Okay. Doesn't smell bad. And honestly, pretty normal for a 4L80 with who knows how many miles. Some black stuff in the pan, but I don't see any shiny glitter. I mean, I don't see any shiny stuff. No. I think we're gonna be fine. I think it just needs a service. And obviously, we'll get it cleaned up and get all this. God, it's the bottom. This has got to be the dirtiest truck I've worked on recently. On the underside. This thing is filthy. I have to figure out where the heck it's been leaking from for all this time. We'll pop the filter out. Filter is definitely dirty. That might have been the whole problem right there. Dirty filter. All right, I'm gonna let this thing drain. It's time for me to go up and get dinner ready. I'm gonna let it drip for a little while I'm doing that. By the time I'm done with dinner and getting the kids into bed with my wife, this should be drained off well enough that I'll feel comfortable putting the pan back on it, and then lowering the truck so I can get this drivetrain the rest of the way out of it. So, you know, honestly, I think that's a good stopping point for this video too. So, I'll pick you guys up in a new video later this evening. That's it for this one. I'm pretty pumped to get this drivetrain into this Blazer and see what it does. You guys have been asking for some square body stuff for a while, so let's do some square body stuff. I've been looking forward to this one also. I think a 6-liter in a K5 will be a lot of fun. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.